עליכם.
הבאנו שלום עליכם.
הבאנו שלום עליכם.
Hi, welcome to the April show of Shalom Ottawa. My name is Benita Sinyatiki, and this is the time that we start to think about summer, and summer means summer camp. And our first guest is Michael Polowin, who is chair of the Camp B'nai Brith of Ottawa board. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure, and for me it's always summertime.
Always thinking about camp then.
Absolutely.
Camp B'nai Brith of Ottawa is pretty well known in the Jewish community in Ottawa, and I guess
And beyond.
Yes.
Yes.
And my first question to you is, what do you think CBB means to the Ottawa Jewish community?
You know, it's interesting. You know, my in-laws met at the camp. I have a brother and a sister-in-law who met at the camp. The Camp B'nai Brith of Ottawa is really part of the heartbeat of the community. You can't really go very far before you find someone in every generation who has fond memories of the camp. It opened in 1936, and so, you know, my children can say that their great-grandfather helped found the camp, and their grandfather went to the camp, and, you know, my family's not unusual in that way. It really is integral to the Ottawa Jewish community.
So it's an institution,
It is.
basically.
It is.
And it's one where many familial relationships have been created.
Absolutely,
it sounds like.
and wonderful memories. Wonderful memories. You know, we had our first real reunion in a long time. We held 3 years ago, and it was an extraordinary event. I mean, what you saw were people in their late teens and people in their late 70s walking down the road of the camp, and they all had the same look on their faces. I mean, you saw tears running down people's faces. There's an emotional connection to the time that people spent there that's quite unlike the time that people have spent in school or doing anything else. The time that they've spent in camp is it's a different world, and they all remember it as such. I wrote a piece afterwards that talked about how, for, you know, a moment everybody was 18 years old again, and you know, gray hair turned back to brown and tummy shrank, and it was as if people had never left, and it really was like that. It was extraordinary, and the same thing is true for the kids that are there today. When my kids come home every summer and they tell me stories, they're the same stories that I told 30 years ago. It's just different names.
So now you must be working feverishly, your team, toward the upcoming season.
It seems never to stop, Anita. You know, it starts right after camp, and actually we're almost into a period where the work does itself. Most of the heavy recruiting's done, the registrations are flowing in, and we're just giving it a little added push at this point.
So tell me about the camp process. Like, at what age can a child start going? Until what age do they go?
Well, we've expanded that. It's really quite interesting. I mean, the traditional answer is 7 to 16. Most of the time we won't accept a camper under the age of 7, with certain exceptions to that. And our counselors in training, who are our oldest campers, are generally 16 in the year that they go to camp. We've expanded that in the last couple of years. We have a fabulous program now we call the Weekender program. And it's an opportunity for kids who are younger than that, or indeed a little older than that. Really, it's up till 9, where we'll accept kids that come to the Weekender program. They come up on a Friday afternoon before Shabbos. They spend Shabbos with us, and right through until Sunday. They get a little taste of camp. And it's a very inexpensive way for parents to give their kids an introduction if either the kids, or in a lot of cases the parents, aren't ready for kids to go away for 2 weeks or 3.5.
So it's to kind of prep them, hopefully, for the following year. When
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, we want to introduce summer camping to the kids. We want to introduce our camp to the kids. And we want Camp B'nai Brith to be the natural choice of those children when they and their parents are ready for their kids to go away for longer.
Was that successful last year?
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. We only came up with the idea in April of last year. We started publicizing it in May. We had 31 kids that came up over 2 weekends. And we've gotten most of those kids back as 2-week or 3.5-week campers this year so far. So it's really an extraordinary program.
And you'll be doing the same, I guess.
Forever.
Forever.
Forever. You can't mess with success.
Yeah,
and
okay.
honestly, I went up to the camp, as the board chair. Last year I was the deputy chair. I get the opportunity to go up to the camp whenever I want. And so, truthfully, I had a cousin with a little boy who was there, and she was, like a lot of other parents, beside herself. And so I went up to camp. I chose the Saturday that the kids were there, to go up to the camp. And so I got to camp, asked where the kids were, and I was told that the boys, and he was, the child was a boy, they were getting ready to go water skiing. So I went down to the beach, and they were on the beach, and they were playing dodgeball on the beach as they got ready to go water skiing. And I got down there, and Jonah looked at me, gave me a great big smile, and then turned away because he was too busy to bother with running over and giving me a hug, because he was in the middle of a good dodgeball game. The kids are there and having a fabulous time. So yeah, it was great.